So here we are, session number 10, and this is what we're going to learn today. So we talked about the item category yesterday. Okay, we spoke about the functions. Okay, but what we're going to do today is we're going to go deeper and learn about what an item category actually is. Okay, that's something we'll do today. And second, we'll talk about a schedule line, and we'll try to configure a schedule line. We'll try to see where's the schedule line. That's something we're going to manage today, and let's see, depending on how much we do, we're still where we can go. Okay, but first of all, we'll do the configuration for item categories, and these are basically the configurations that you need for item categories. Okay, so you need to define item categories. We'll define the item category groups. We'll define the default value for material types. I'll tell you what are material types. Then we'll define item category usages, assign item categories, and define and assign reason for rejection. That's something we're going to do today. And let's start. Okay, we'll do most of it in the system today, so let's log on. Sales document, item, define item categories. The first thing we are doing, okay, what we normally do is we take a tan, okay, standard item, we make a copy, we'll call y tan, okay, standard item, let's say for HUL. Okay, someone's already made it. Let's make YTN for HUL. Okay, YTAN HUL. Right, and you know standard item, so you know it is tan, and we have given a similar naming convention, and we said this is for HUL. Okay, and now we can configure and we can work around it and we can use it the way we would like to. Okay, that's the main things. Okay, let's start and talk about a few important fields. Okay, so the first thing is item type. Okay, now it's a level above item category, so it's a category of items. Item category type. Item category type is how you should treat it. Okay, so this is normally blank, which is basically a standard item. So we have a standard item. In standard items, it will normally be blank. Okay, and if you're using a text item, then this will be B. Okay, or if you're using a packaging item, it will be C. Right, so most of the time in your standard items, this is going to be a blank. That's what we are going to use. Okay, next is the term business item. Okay, now if you tick this, what you are saying is that the business data at the item level, at the material level, can be different than the business data at the header level. Okay, so just to remind you of a few things: what's header level, what's item level, and what's business data. Okay, so this is header level. Okay, and all of this is header level. Okay, which is common for all the materials. Data which is common for all the materials is header level, and this is item level. Okay, or this is item level, you can say, or this is item level. Okay, this is different for every material, can be different, sometimes similar as well, but can be different. Okay, this is your business data. This is your business data. Okay, you do F1 and then we do this. So VBKD, VBKD table is your business data table. Okay, slash OSE 11. Okay, VBKD sales document business data. SE11 is a T code which helps you learning about your tables. Okay, so I did two things here. If you couldn't catch up with me, I'm sorry. I'll do that again. So this is a field. I know this. This is part of business data. This is also part of business data. But if you were to check whether it is actually part of business data, what do? You click here and then you click on technical information and then you find the table here. So this is VBKD. You copy it. Then you open a T code called SE11. Okay, so you have VBKD here. You click on display and this is how your table shows, and you get to see all your fields here. Okay, you get to see all your fields here. So you have customer group, you have sales district, price list type, Incoterms, invoice date, invoice list schedule. Okay, and many fields. Okay, including this field. Right now, how do you search for this field? This field is BSTKD. Just copy it. Come here. Okay, this is your field here as well. Customer reference and customer reference date. Okay, these two fields at the top go and sit in this table VBKD. Okay, now let's go back to the configuration. What this field says is, can these can the business data be different at item level than the header level? Okay, can this data be different at the item level? Can this be different at this level? Okay, this is what this field is basically saying. Okay, a lot of this data is saved in header and at the item level as well. So what you're just talking right now is, can it be different here or not? Okay, right. So this is this particular checkbox. Okay, then you have something which is called a completion rule. Okay, so I had an item with 100 quantities. If I deliver 80, will my item be marked as complete? Okay. If I deliver 80 and 10 subsequently, will it be marked as complete? When you mark your item as complete? Okay. And this is basically for non-shippable items. Okay. This is not for your 10. This is not for your 10, and therefore it is, you normally use it as blank, not relevant for completion. Okay, it is only for non-shippable items. Okay, let me save this for now and show this to you in another item category. Okay, okay, let's go. KMN, quantity contract item. So an item category, normal quantity contract item. Okay, now you see this completion rule now is C. If you want to compare two, that's a beautiful thing SAP has given here. So TAN and other was KMN. You select both and you click here on details. Then what you can do is you can toggle back and forth. So you see, you go to TAN and you see it is blank. You come back to KMN and you see this is C. Okay, so TAN, this is not needed. Okay, this is only needed for items which will not be shipped. Okay, So contract items will not be shipped. Why? Because after a contract, you create an order or lines from the order are shipped. Okay. So this contract item is completed after the target quantity is fully referenced. Okay. Your item is only completed when the target quantity is fully referenced. Item is completed with the first reference. As soon as you create one order from the contract, the item will be marked as complete. You cannot do anything else. Item is complete when the full quantity has been referenced, right? Say you have 100 quantity, till you make orders of 100 quantity. You have a contract for 100 quantity. Now you want to deliver that 100 quantity, so you make contracts, right? That is when this is be fully referenced. So these are 5 different rules which can be used for non-shipping items. Okay. Inquiry. Item is complete with the first reference. As soon as someone creates a quotation from an inquiry, the inquiry is marked as complete. Okay. AGN. Quotation. B. Full quantity has been referenced. So give a quotation for 100 quantity. Till you made sales orders for 100 quantity, this quotation will not be marked as complete. Okay. You'll have to, if you've made quotation for 100 quantity, your order has to be close to 100 quantity. Okay. Actually, exactly 100 quantity according to this B. Okay. Now let's go and look at some other fields now. Schedule line allowed. Okay. Now let's look at 10 first. Right. Schedule line allowed. Schedule line allowed basically says when you have non-shippable items, but you want to schedule, have a schedule line for them as well. So this is not relevant for 10. Okay. This is relevant for non-shipping items. Okay. Again, this is relevant for, say, for example, KMN. KMN is not a item which will be shipped. Why? Because it's a contract item. Okay. AGN is not an item will be shipped. AFN is not an item will be shipped. But if you want a schedule line for that, you can have a schedule line for them as well. Okay. Non-shippable items. For example, you have the text item. Yesterday you saw I created a text. Okay. So this is a text item. Now you want to enable the schedule line for a text item, you can do that as well. Okay. That's what it allows. Now this is special stock indicator. Are you going to use normal stock or are you going to use special stock? Okay. So in a lot of cases, what we have in SAP is special stock. So special stock basically means that you are not using normal stock to serve your customer. You are using some stock which is lying separately, okay, to serve your customers. If that is the case, then what you do is you use the special stock indicator and you tell the system which special stock am I going to use. Okay, so let's look take an example of this as well. Okay, then so what you do is you come here and check this. Let's go inside and show you. So there's a process called consignment sales. I'll teach you in one of the classes. For consignment sales, you have an item category called KEN, which is consignment issue. Okay, this is basically issuing stock to the customer. But what you do is you issue stock from a special stock. You don't issue normal stock. Customer consignment stock. This is what you issue. Okay. So this is a special stock indicator. Most of the time this will be blank unless you have special scenarios where you want to use some special stock which has been kept aside for the customer. Okay. Let's look further. Item relevant for delivery. Okay. Now your item is not relevant for delivery, right? Say for example the text item. It will not go into the delivery. It does not need to go into the delivery. But by force you want to make it go into the delivery, then you mark it as item relevant for delivery. Just check here. TAN is always relevant for delivery. You have seen I have created deliveries for TAN as well, but this is not marked as relevant for delivery. Why? Because item relevant for delivery is for those items which are uh, non-shippable. Okay, they don't normally need to be shipped. Okay, for example, service items. For example, text items. But if you want to make a delivery for them as well, SAP allows you to do that. How? Just by doing a tick here. Okay. Okay. Let's move to the next item. Next is your billing relevance. Okay. Whether the item is relevant for billing or not. Okay. So for TAN, what do you tell the system? You tell the system it is relevant for billing based on delivery. Okay. Delivery related invoices for partial quantity. Whatever the quantity. Okay. You can also do partial quantity billings, but it will be based on deliveries. Okay. Now let's look at TAD, which is the service item. Okay, what will happen in the case of service? Let's look at that. Okay, so when you're talking about TAD, your billing relevance changes to I, and this I is order relevant billing versus billing plan. But main important thing is that it is an order relevant billing. You'll make a billing from the order, and that's what you're specifying here. Billing will be made, but it will be made from the order. Okay. If you look at TATX, which was the text item, then you realize it is not relevant for billing. Okay. Let's look at the next field now. Okay. Now, if you want to specify that these are goods coming back from the customer, then you will specify it as returns. Okay. So returns, the reverse of TAN is REN. When you go into REN, this is what you get. Okay. REN. This is REN. It specifies returns. Okay. Now, this is important if for you to specify for all item categories which are of return type, you need to specify this checkbox. Okay, this is important. Let's look at the next one. Billing plan type is for your milestone billings, okay, and your periodic billings. So I gave you an example of billings yesterday, where I told you that when you buy a house, you have your billings after every stage. Okay, so that is basically your billing plan type. Okay, milestone billing, periodic billing, and other billings. That is what you specify here. and you specify it only for your item categories which are relevant for billing plans. Okay. Again, this is for those items, weight, volume relevant, which are non-shippable, which are non-shippable. Okay, but if you want to maintain the weight and volume for that, then you can do that. For example, service item, it is non-shippable. There will be no delivery for it. But if you still want to maintain weight for it, you can do it. Okay. TATX, right? You don't deliver it. Text does not need weight. But if you want to have the weight for this item, then what you can do is you can mark this. Okay. Next you have is a billing block. Okay. Now these are your billing blocks. The moment you create an item of this type, your item will be blocked. Okay, it will be blocked for billing. Okay, so you have blocks at the header level. This is where you have it. Okay, and you have blocks at the item level. But this billing block field is basically the field you are setting here. Okay, credit active. Okay, all of these lines, when you are asking money from a customer, you are adding all the lines. Okay, say if I have line number 1 is that, line number 2 is this, okay, and line number 3 is this, right? So 3 items together, $201. That's something you'll ask the money from the customer, and you will also check his credit basis this. Okay, so you check his credit basis this amount. Okay, now when you, the credit will only be checked when you mark this like this. If your item category is not marked as credit active. Okay, what do we have here? We have tan here. If your tan is not marked as credit active, then this total of this line will not be checked for credit. Okay, right? So you allow one $200. Let's see. Say you allow $200 of credit to the customer. Okay, but this line, the third line, right? Say this line has a category which is whose credit active is switched off. Okay, then what will happen is that when you are making an order, when you're making a sales order, at that time this amount, the item of the amount of the third line item. Okay, what's the amount? Let's check. Right, 38 US dollars will not be checked for credit. So you will only check for 220 minus 38, which will be close to 182. So you'll only check against $182. Okay, so this credit active field is very important when you're talking about uh, the credit check for a customer. Okay, next is pricing. Okay, let's look at pricing. Okay, X is standard pricing, right? So there will be some items where you don't have pricing. Okay, let me show you those as well. Okay, so tan is standard pricing, obviously. TATX is no pricing, therefore you have it blank. Okay, what SAP has done is SAP has also made it gray. Okay, at some places the SAP normally does not do it, but to prevent users from causing issues, SAP has made this field gray. Okay, so you cannot have a pricing here. Okay, let's look at other things now. uh, I wanted to show you an example where it was a different kind of pricing. TANN, free of charge item. Now let's go into TANN, TANN. Here it is. Pricing is B. B is pricing for free goods. Okay. Next you have determine cost. This basically says whether your cost should appear in the line item or not. Okay. So I don't know. I'll remember if I have the cost. Okay. So these are all condition types. Okay. These are pricing condition types. Similarly, you have a condition type called VPRS. That condition type brings the cost of this item. How much did this cost to make? Okay. But that will only come if you have ticked this. If you don't tick it, your cost for the line item will not show. So you need to tick it here and you need to include it in your pricing procedure. Okay. So in my pricing, okay, we have a proper session for pricing. I'll just show it to you for a second. So Z new WP is my pricing. I just want to show you VPRS or the cost is not here. If we look at standard pricing made by SAP RVAA01, okay, then you see internal price. This is the cost. This field will get a value if you put a tick here. Okay, this field gets a value. Okay, this is basically whether your data, whether your amounts, okay, will they be included statistically? Okay, statistically means monetary amounts, okay, in reports, etc. Right? Blank is it will use, okay, and then you have no accumulation. Okay, so we normally leave it blank, which means our item totals will add to the header totals when it comes to statistics. Okay, and for statistics, what SAP has given is this. Let me show you. Information systems, logistics, sales and distribution, customer, sales. These are standard reports already given by SAP. So when you execute, you get your statistics. This is my favorite customer, 106. Okay, Reliance Retail, and these are the statistics for it. But how do you get those statistics? You get them from the line item. The total for each line item adds to the value. That is what you get. Okay. So for example, here in this particular order, these three items are adding to the total, which is coming to 220, which is showing in that logistics statistical information which I just showed you right now. Okay, and you can just see the totals here to understand. So net value 91, 91 and 38. Okay, so 182 and 38 coming to 220, right? And that this 220 gets added here. Okay, okay. But for now, let's do one thing. Let's come back here. Okay, right. So revenue recognition. When do you recognize your revenue? Say you sold something today. Will you will you recognize revenue today or will you recognize revenue say after say when the product is delivered, right? So you are sending something from here to America, and from India to America, you are sending something. It will take, say, 2 months to reach on a ship. Okay. Now, will you recognize revenue on the day you have sent it from your warehouse, or will you recognize revenue on the day it is delivered? Okay. So it is based on accounting principles, and this field used to be used till ECC. In S4 HANA, you have a separate revenue accounting which is called RAR. That's again a topic which Gaurav teaches. That's again a 30-hour session. But this used to be in here till ECC days. Okay, and that's where you would do your revenue recognition. In S4 HANA, you do your revenue recognition in RAR only. Okay, then you have your other controls. Okay, now if you are in FMCG, what you will have is you will have batches. Okay, now if you tick this, it does a automatic batch determination, right? Say you are say you are PepsiCo and you are selling Pepsi 300 ml or 600 ml or 1 liter, and you have every day every day for every shift you have a batch, right? Now for say for the past 10 shifts you are making, but you have not been able to sell right now. Okay, now you have 10 batches in your system. Which batch should the system pick up? Okay, so when you take this, system does a automatic batch determination, and basis some rules, system brings up a batch in the sales order. Okay, now this is automatic batch determination. This only works when you have the batch determination going on. Okay, next you have rounding permitted. Okay, now this is basically when you allow rounding on the quantity of the sales document line item. Okay, say you are uh, you have a material and you weighed it. Okay, in some industries what you do is you weigh your material, and that's the weight is put here. Okay, because you don't know how much your quantity is. Okay, so you weighed the thing, and that quantity comes here directly. Okay, now just think that your weight came to, okay, so it came to 100.12 100.12 kgs. Okay, now this is a very odd thing for the customer and for you as well. So what you would do is you will want to round it. Okay, so rounding permitted an indicator is what you tick, and if you when you tick it, then your rounding is allowed in the sales order. Okay, now this is a interview question as well. Order quantity is equal to 1. When you tick it, okay, it assigns the quantity of 1 to this item. Okay, so if I have ticked this here, then whenever I make an item of item category 10, my quantity will come as 1. Okay, and this is normally used for service items. Okay, so you take your car for service, and they have a line item here which says engine decarbonization. Okay, and you have said all my service items have order quantity of 1, then this will come as 1. So engine decarbonization, 1 quantity, whatever the amount. Okay, so this defaults it to 1. Okay, now this is for ATP, available to check, available to promise, sorry. Okay, but we normally don't use this field. Okay, next is your incompletion procedure. Now incompletion procedure is basically what will happen if I leave an item blank. Okay, Say for example, I'm here and I leave this blank. Okay. Okay, now I want to save it. Let's see what it says. Document is incomplete. Would you like to save? When I go and see, it says your order quantity and your net value are not there. Because of your order quantity, nothing else is coming. So because you don't have the quantity, you don't have the weight, you don't have the net value. It says go and complete your data. Okay. Now how did this happen? This happened because of the incompletion procedure. Okay, so I put a 1 here, make the system happy, come back and save it. Okay. And what it now okay, what it now did it is it showed here that the document is complete anyways. No problem. Let's do this. Okay. Next is your partner determination procedure. Okay. Partner determination procedure is basically if you want to determine partners at line item level. Okay. Let me show you that as well. Okay. I have not told you about partners, but basically a customer can take several uh, at various phases. I can treat the customer separately. Okay. For example, a customer might say, I'm giving you order from Washington, but you should deliver to Chicago. Okay, and please send the invoice to Colorado. Okay, what happens now? One becomes a sold to party, one becomes a ship to party, and one becomes a bill to party. Okay, that's something you have in standard SAP. We'll talk in detail probably next Saturday or Sunday. This is the session where I talk about this. Normally what happens is you have partners on the header level. Okay, sold to, bill to, ship to, and payer. But you can also determine your partners at the item level. Okay, and you would ask me why so. You will have cases in business when because companies say deliver the first 4 products to this address, the next 2 products to this address, and the final 4 products to this address. Okay, so that can happen as well. Therefore, you can also change your partners at the item level. Okay, say I want to change my ship to party here, which is where am I delivering. Okay, I am allowed to change that. See, okay, the name also changed, right? Now that is allowed in standard SAP. Okay, but for that you need to set up this partner determination procedure. Then you have your text determination procedure. Okay, what are the kind of texts which will show in my line item? Okay, so let me go here and let me go here. Okay, so see all these texts are already made and given by SAP. You can make more yourself, but right now this is a standard determination procedure. That is why you have standard text as well. Material sales text. Okay, handle with care. Okay, sales note for customer, all items packed together. Sales note from customer, please ship in cardboard boxes. Okay, similarly these are many texts available as standard from the system. You can also make your own, but to have these texts right now, how many do you have? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14. To all have these texts, you need a text determination procedure. Okay. Ship sales note from customer, shipping instructions from customer, shipping notification from customer, shipping note from customer, billing instruction, billing note from customer, billing info for customer, and so many more. Plus, you can make them yourself. Okay. Right. Next is your item category statistics group. Okay. Now this again influences the statistics. This again influences this data. Whether you want to take your statistics there, whether you want to take your total there or not. Okay. All of that you can do here. Okay. Next you have here is your screen sequence group. Okay, now a sequence group is how would your screen open or how would your screen look. Okay, I'm just trying to find out a material item category where it looks different. Okay, does not. Right, so right now it is just one. It is basically how your items will look when you double click on a line item in an order. How do they show? Okay, or how does this show? So that's just one given available. Okay, there's something called a status profile. The status profile basically means which statuses can your item go through. Okay, which statuses can your item go through, right? Now that is called a status profile. Okay, and this basically you can use it like a workflow. Status 1, 2, 3, 4. You can assign it to various people. So you can say status 1 to 2, say Singh has the power. Status 2 to 3, say Kashif has the power. 3 to 4, okay, say Mukhi has the power. Okay, and that ways you can go to your basis guy and get it set. Okay, and finally you can say the last status is released, right? So this is like in MM or materials management, you have purchase order approval that works like a workflow. This does not work like a workflow, but almost help you solve the same thing. Okay. Okay. No, you have some scenarios in which, basis the sales order, you make purchase orders as well, and this is especially for individual requirement scenarios. Okay, again used very less often, but this is a field which you can use to create your PO automatically in those cases. Okay, okay. Bill of material configuration, I am not going to talk about. This is used very less often. Value contract, we'll talk during contract. So that's pretty much it. These are the fields I wanted to take you through, and these are the most important fields. Okay, and you can play with them, use them around. And if you're not understanding what they mean, what you can do is you can always look at different item categories to understand what they mean. Okay, that's something which I normally suggest. Okay, save the changes first. No. Okay, we have our YTNH. Okay, so this is what we made. Let's go to the second step, define item category groups. Okay, so I told you that day the determination is based on four things. Okay, first is the sales order type, then you have the item category group, then you have the item usage, then you have the higher level item category. Okay, now this is your item category group. Where do you assign it? You assign it to the material master. Inside the material master, okay, item category group, this is where you assign it. Okay, and if you see here, NORM is already made, which is the normal item, standard item. Okay, and you should remember a few which are similar. Okay, and that will actually help you. One is LEIS. Okay, LEIS is service without a delivery. Okay, then you have DIEN. This is service with delivery. Okay, then ERLA. Okay, then there's something called LUMF. Okay, these are some which you would need to use uh, many times in your life because these are the ones which are more important. Okay, your returnable packaging, like your crate. Okay, empties, your glass bottles for Pepsi, Coke, etc. Okay, So when you make your material, you'll have to be very specific on what's the item category group to be used here. Because with a good item category group, you determine the right item category. Okay, so you should not be using the wrong item category groups. Okay, now this was item category groups. Most of them made in standard. If you want to have a one which is different, just make this and make a copy, or just say new entries and make a copy. Okay, that's allowed as well. Z normal, HUL normal, standard item. Okay, you want, you can do this as well. Okay, but it's not suggested because we normally don't do make it. It's not needed. Still want to make it, you can do that. Okay, next is basically define default values for material types. Every material you make is for a material type. SAP has material types. Okay, finished goods, raw material, semi-finished good, packaging material, service material. Okay, packaging returnable material, uh, empties, right? So you have so many of them. Okay, so what you can do is you can assign the default value for the material type. Okay, this material Garnier Fructus 2, if I look here, has FERT as the material type, finished goods standard. Okay, now let's see. Against finished goods standard, what do you have? So against finished goods standard, you have NORM. So whenever you'll make a finished good, whenever you'll make a new material, the item category which will come will be normal or NORM. Okay. By default, this is what will come. If you want to change, you can also make a change. Okay. So this is default values for material type. Okay. So if I try to make a material here, okay, I've not taught you this, so don't worry. But I'm just trying to show you. Okay. Material industry I'm saying is food and beverages, and I'm saying FERT finished goods. Okay, so I'm copying 2 and making 3, right? Just to show you one thing, I'll not show you a lot of things and confuse you. Okay, so let's directly go to what I want to do. Okay, now you see this has come here directly. NORM item category group is NORM. Okay, now this is what you get from your defined default values for material types. Okay, next is your define item category usage. Now if you remember, the third field for item category determination was item category usage, right? Now the usage I showed you that day was free or free goods. This is what I showed you, but there are other usages which SAP has given as well. Most of them are used very less often. Okay, but SAP has made them, and there are scenarios in different organizations around the world where you might use these item usages. Okay, but these are standard. You can make your own and have an item usage, and basis your item usage, you can have your item category determination going on as well. Okay, so if you want to make one here, you can say Z standard as free. Okay, standard as free, standard as standard as free HUL. Okay, you can have that. See, item category group can go in the material master, but your usage you cannot define anywhere. Okay, if you remember the last session, usage comes from ABAP code. Okay, usage comes from your ABAP code. Okay, let me show you the screen as well. Usage comes from your ABAP code. Okay, whether standard ABAP code or your ABAP code. Okay, so if you want to use the usage in an item, you will have to change the usage in your ABAP code written for the sales order. Okay, next is your assign item categories. Okay, now you assign. This is something we saw yesterday as well, but let's see again. So OR NORM. When order is OR and item category group is NORM, they give me 10. Okay, similarly OR NORM. When item usage is free, okay, and higher level item category is 10, then you give me 10N. Okay, so this is your item category determination. Okay, ZO. So you remember we made our sales document types. Okay, let's go and see them for a minute, and then I'll tell you something. ZO order HUL. What did we make? ZOAB, OAF, AI, and AW, and ZOHB. Okay, so we made a few. Now, when we go here, assign item categories, then you see when I do ZO, AB, NORM, then I can already see this, right? It has already been made. Why? When you copied OR, you also copied the other configuration of OR. So this config made by default when you copied OR. Okay, and some config you will not need has been made as well. Okay, sales document type, norm, higher level category, lower level category. You will not even understand what is CBBC and you will not even use it, but it has been made. Okay, now let's look at this in detail. We don't want this, so let's change it to YTNH. YTNH. Okay, okay, that's what we have done. So we've changed it to YTNH. Okay, similarly, ZOA. Start showing everything. Okay, so ZOAB we have changed to YTNH. Let's look at others. So next we have is ZOAF, ZOAF norm. This also we are changing to YTNH. Okay, I'm not changing the manual ones, I'm letting them be there. Okay, let's go down. ZOAI, ZOAI. Okay, again let me check for norm here. ZOAI norm is here. Okay, YTNH. Okay, now you could say what to do with all these others. Okay, now one way is to let them be. Tomorrow the user wants to do something, standard has already been made for your order type. Okay, the other way could be, so for you, if you know something is not logical at all, okay, then that's something you can delete as well. Okay, so for example, I'm not understanding ZOAF and item category group 0002. Okay, so I start here, I end here. Okay, I have selected a block and I delete a block. Now please remember, don't delete for others. There's a lot of config here, others might get impacted. So please select properly, check your selection is selected, okay, and then only delete. Now I'm saying delete. Number of deleted entries 18. Okay, so I've not deleted a lot. I know what I've deleted. Okay, then you can save it. What this will do is this will tomorrow when someone comes to see your config, right? So you've done your configuration and gone away, right? Now there's so much config here that it might be difficult for others to understand it. When you clean it out like this and you only leave the relevant scenarios, then the person who's coming to support finds it easy. Okay, you have to do a little more work, and if you're not cautious, you might end up destroying your own work. Okay, now that happens as well, right? If you delete something in a hurry, you will destroy your own work. Okay, so that is why some consultants just leave it like this to ensure that their own work does not get spoiled. Others like to clean it up. Your choice how you want to do it. Okay, great. So this is assign item categories, right? Next you have is reasons for rejection. Okay, these are your reasons for rejection. Where do you see it? Let me show it to you. This is your order. In the order, if you go here, sales, okay, you see a reason for rejection here. Okay, so first you make a reason for rejection. This is your reason for rejection. Here's what you make it, right? You just give it a number. Okay, so we'll give H1, HUL rejection. Let's say damage. Okay, H2, and let's say HUL rejection, and this is expired goods. Okay, now if you tick here, your any material where you have put a reason for rejection will not come in the output. It will not come in the printout. Okay, if you put a tick here, okay, and then you put the reason for rejection here, then what happens is that any material which has a reason for rejection will not be allowed to go for billing. Okay, similarly for statistics, right? If you want it blank means this item's total will still be copied into the header. Okay, okay, y also means it will be copied. It can be used statistically. X is a cross, so it says cannot be used statistically. Okay, and that is something again you can use. What will happen to your line item amount when you put a reason for rejection is what you control here. Here you control whether that item can be billed. Say I put a reason for rejection here. Now can this item be billed after this or not? That's what you control here. This here you control the output, the printout. When you're taking a printout of this order, will this line item show up or not? Okay, so this is what you do. Now I'm doing this. Okay, and statistics I'm saying cannot be used statistically. Okay, this is what I make and I've saved it. Okay, now you need to assign it to your order types. Okay, so your order type and your uh, sales organization. Okay, let's see. So we will need to use our old data now. So where are order types? These are our order types. Okay, so these are our order types. Next we need to see is the sales organization. Where are sales organization? Here they are. Okay, but we already have a order type assignment to the sales organization. Yeah. Okay. So this is, we had assigned the order reason. Similarly, let's assign the reason for rejection. Okay. So we have two reasons for rejection, HUL1 and HUL2. Document type, org and reason. Sales document type, org and reason. Just take it, make a copy, call it H2. Okay. New entries, copy, paste. Okay. When it says you already have made something and you're making it again, just say okay, leave it, leave it, leave it, leave it, leave it. Okay. No need to come out. Okay. Here also it will tell us the same thing. Okay. And we'll just, for whatever is being made again, we'll just say okay, come out. Okay. Now you have H1 and H2 for your sales document types. Now just to show you, so if in the case of L'Oreal, you see I just get to see two reasons for rejections, 00 and 01. Why is that? Now that is because when it comes to L'Oreal, okay, ZOR1, these are the two items. I assign two reasons for rejection, 00 and 01. That's what you'll only get to see. This is basically to control which sales document type has which reason for rejection. Also, which sales org has which reasons for rejection. Okay, you can control at both level. Okay, so this is your definition for reason for rejection. This is your assignment for reason for rejection. Okay, that is what you have here. So what we have done now is right from define item categories. We made item category. We have defined the item category groups, default values for material type. We have defined the item category usages. We assigned the item categories. We have made a reason for rejection, and we have assigned the reason for rejection. Right. This is your work to create an item category. Okay. Now let me come to you now. Your mics are allowed. You can ask your questions now.
So, Suchi, this one now I have few questions.
Mm-hmm.
So, you mentioned this business data. The
Mm-hmm.
business data, whatever is found in the table BBKD, those are all called as business data, right? And
Mm-hmm.
why they call it as a business data? Is there something different from the other data, other fields?
Yes. SAP has just defined it like that. That
Okay, so
that data is called business data for some reason SAP has, but otherwise if you see everything is business data. But specifically SAP defines that as business data.
okay, thank you. And one more thing is like in the configure item category configuration, you have a checkbox for returns. That means
Hmm.
if it is selected, then that item can be allowed to create a return order, something like that.
Basically your item category, yeah. So for REN, right? Your REN, this is selected returns. Basically you are telling the system this is a returns item category. Think of it like returns, make it behave like a returns item category.
The item category itself is a returns. That's the point.
Yes, item category itself is returns.
Okay.
So you're telling the system this is an item category which will be used for returning goods. Okay, when your goods are coming back from the customer, only then I am going to use this.
Okay, 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 thank you. Then this revenue recognition field is there. Now it is grayed out because, as you said, a separate RAR module is there to handle. That's why this is grayed out here. That's the reason.
Absolutely, yes.
And then you have this incompletion procedure. The
Mm.
incompletion procedure is at the order level, order type level also is all the incompletion procedure. And here also an item category level also is there. So this incompletion procedure will act only for that item wherever the item category is mentioned, or for
Yes.
the.
Yeah, yeah. So REN, you can have a different incompletion procedure. Say, for example, let's look at this. Look at TAN, okay, and then look at TAD. We'll start. Look at TAD. Look at TANN, and look at TATX. So incompletion procedure 2S, service item. Okay, so service item, you will not have weight in the incompletion procedure. Okay, TN, standard item 20. TNN, free of charge item 24 incompletion procedure. And text ST is the incompletion procedure. So every item behaves differently. It has a different behavior. So different incompletion procedures based depending on your item categories.
Okay, for that line. Yeah. Okay, thank you. And just two more things. The status
Okay.
profile you have mentioned here, correct?
Mhm.
Um, can you just explain like what values will be there, like what just to get the status. When it
Mm,
will be used, or like its usage,
okay.
where it will be used in the order.
Yeah, usage I'll show you here. Let me show you the usage. So what you do is you make statuses. Status 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then you say from and to. Okay. So you can stay from status 1. Okay. You can go to status 2. From status 2, you can go to 3. From 3, you can go to 4. And from 4, you can only go to 4. Okay. You can leave this config out if you want. So you've done two things now. One, you've told the status, what is the status, and you said how can you progress, how can you move from the status. So by this, you're saying that you cannot move back. If you also want to allow to move back, then you can do that as well. Okay. So this is promotion. If you also want demotion of statuses, that can also happen. Then you can put the description of the status. Okay. So first status you can say is created. Okay. Then you can say approved by manager. Then you can say approved by senior manager, and then you can say approved by HOD. And once it is approved, then you can deliver to the customer. Okay, so these are your statuses. That's how you can manage them. Okay, or you can also have different kinds of status. You can say created, and then you can say now this is an order where you need to get it produced. Okay, so you can say passed to production. So you told the production it needs to be made, and then you can say production complete, and then you can finally say goods with sales. Now the sales team has the goods, they can give it to the sell it to the customer. Okay, but remember this is manual status. Someone has to move the status manually. Okay, you'll have to put there'll be radio button. Someone has to move from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. Okay, but this is something which has been given by SAP. Very few consultants know it, and therefore very few consultants use it. But it's a beautiful thing. If you know how to use it, you can use it well.
So that means whatever status profile we mentioned, that automatically it move from one status to another status. If it is after
not
created, then it will go
not
to the.
automatically, you will have to move. This just says from 1 you can only move to 2, from 1 you cannot move to 3 directly. If you are in status 1, it will not allow you to move to 3 directly. That's all it means.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, sir. And finally, this usage, you said the usage either it will take from the standard program or the custom program. So, how they will hard code the usage from the program or the item category
Yes,
usage?
yes. Rightly said. So again, as I showed you yesterday, slash NSE38. Okay. So one of these, this your include. Okay. In this include, in one of these user exits, you'll have to see which user exit. In one of these user exits, what you will do is you will have a check in place. So you'll say if material number is this, from this to this, okay, or any other check. Say you can say if, let's say, let's look at this. So you can say, right. So you can say if material group is 7654-FG, okay, then my item usage is finish good free, okay, and ZFGF, okay. And then what you are doing is you are basically hard coding it in your user exit. Once you hard coded the item usage, then your item category determination will happen in a different manner. Why? Because now you have given SAP another field to think about. Okay. Now your item cat determination cannot happen normally. Okay. ZOAB, and RM. Right. Normal was like this. What you did was you used your ABAP and put a usage. So now SAP will try to search for that. ZOAB norm and whatever you have done. ZOAB norm and say you put ZFG free. This is the item usage you put in ABAP. Now SAP will try to search the item category basis this. Okay.
Here
And
it
then
will not get displayed, correct? Here, whatever you are showing, usage is blank always
no,
here.
here it will get displayed. Why will it not get displayed? You're not, see, you are changing the item usage. You're not changing the item category. You can change the item category also, okay, but then that you're not doing determination, then you are hard coding the item category, okay. But if you change the usage, then you are still using determination to find the item category, okay. This
Okay.
never said you are this says you are using a program for item usage. Your determination still happens in the normal manner, just for the usage. Just the arrow is just for the usage. It is not for the item category, right? See, that way anything can be hard coded. You can hard code anything here. You don't need standard configuration at all, right? But specifically for item usage, because SAP has given very few item usages, the only one you will normally see is FREE. Therefore, SAP says if you want to change this, use the ABAP and get change the item usage, basis which I will finally determine the item category.
Yeah.
But you
Okay.
still need to have your configuration. Okay, I think we made a usage. Let's put it here. Define item category usage. If I'm not wrong, I put ZSTF. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll put it here. So I'll say, let me make a new entry. So I'll say ZOAB, identity group norm, usage is this. And when this happens, then you give me ZTNH. ZTNH, no, YTNH. Okay. This is what you're telling the system. Okay, but now it will try to find usage. Normally it will not find the usage. Only when will it find the usage? When you code the usage in the program for some specific material group, material type, etc. That is when it will find the usage. When it finds it, then it will come and get this.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for your answers. Thank you. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Any other question?
Mr. Singh, if the item is already rejected, why would it be eligible for billing? Meaning, why would we explicitly put a config check mark there?
Question is good, but that's a setting given by SAP, and SAP allows you to bill even rejected items, and that is why they have given this control, right?
Okay.
Now, it could be
Mhm.
rejected just in the order. Okay, uh, cannot think of a reason right now. Your question is valid, but SAP has given you this control where you can still reject the item, but go ahead and do the billing for
Check. Thank you.
it. We'll have to think of a business case why SAP did it, because normally when they do it, they have a solid business case for making a configuration. But
Agreed.
why did they do it? Even I'll have to think.
Thank you.
This actually came to me as a error as well in one of the support organizations I was working on. This person put a reason for rejection and was able to make a billing document. And then he came to me saying, see, I put a reason for rejection and I rejected the order and still the billing was made. Now my distributor is furious with me, right? It was a 10 lakh order. I rejected the 10 lakh order, but the guys at the plant, they went ahead and made the delivery and the billing, and they were able to do it, right? Now then he says, now your reason for rejection does not work, which means, okay, so what had happened was the reason for rejection he was using did not have this indicator on. Okay, because someone used a standard reason for rejection which did not have the billing, no billing on. Okay, and someone had assigned the standard one to the sales document type and sale org as well, so therefore it could be used. Okay, so when you do a mistake in a configuration, it finally comes and haunts the support guys who are supporting, right? But your question still stays valid. Why did they do it? I'll have to think.
That also means that we can also create a delivery for that.
Yes. See, that again, that is anyways another block, right? So if you see here,
Delivery block.
yeah, that's the delivery block. So you have the delivery block and the billing block. These are separate, and reason for rejection is separate. Okay. So this has been given to you over and above the delivery and billing block. Right? So SAP has given you multiple levels of control.
Hmm.
Give me 1 second. See, even at your item level, you have this billing block, okay, which you can assign to your item category, right? So one level of safe block they've already given to you here, billing block. Okay, over and above, on top of that, they've also given you a reason for rejection.
Okay. Thank you.
Right? Anyone else?
I think I have one question. Like I'm just trying to understand, like, in what cases the POs will be created based on SO. Is it like when we purchase goods from the vendor, or is there any scenarios where we create the POs based for the SOs, for corresponding SOs? I mean to say.
Sorry, come again.
I mean, so there is a automatic creation of PO in the config. So just trying to understand in what scenarios I mean, in what cases we create that system will create the POs for the corresponding SOs. I mean, SOs is sales orders. Is it like when we when we take the goods from the vendor, or is there any scenarios where the system will create the POs automatically for corresponding SO?
Okay. See, what SAP says is if you go and look at the field, SAP says you do it for your independent requirements. Okay. So you have some independent requirements, uh, which you which you want to get fulfilled from your vendor. That's the time when you create a PO basis the sales order. You procure something from the vendor and then you can sell it to the customer once you have it in your warehouse. Okay. That's when you normally create a PO. We'll touch upon a similar scenario which is third party sale, where basis your order a PR is created. Okay. I myself have not worked on a scenario where your order gets converted into a PO, but third party sale is something we'll do where your order gets converted into a PR.
Okay, sure. Yeah, because it's showing automatic PO creation, so that's why I got a confusion. Like, why there will be automatic PO creation, in what cases, in what scenarios that will happen. Yeah.
Yeah, so it is most logical in the case of trading goods where you are trading goods, you're buying something, selling it to your customer. So basis your order, if you don't have stock, you can have a PO for your vendor and get stock from him into your warehouse, and then you can sell it to your customer.
Okay. Thank you. And also, sorry, and also, we also going to do in the Fiori Launchpad, like, the creating the orders, etc. VA01, what we are doing in SAP GUI. Uh, are we also doing in the Fiori? Because it's going to be a little bit different. I did check in MM03, I mean 01, where compared to the GUI versus the Fiori, kind of little bit. I mean, it's the same altogether, but the options we need to look right. So, like, I mean, are you also covering that Fiori? At least one or two classes, creating orders or billing or whatever.
Yeah, so we will do Fiori order to invoice cycle. We will do it in Fiori.